top of the league, top of the league. Just bring it on. Bring on the international. I'd say bring on your Bayer Leverkusens. We got it all. What a performance! What an absolute brilliant result. And let's talk about some other results as well. Blooming heck, the Champions League's been very interesting tonight, hasn't it, lads? I'm joined by some brilliant guests, people that I haven't spoken to as such. Dylan, we have that kind of connection because I kind of introduced you
Yeah.
to this to the channel. So I'm really really happy that we finally get to talk. And CT, it's been a long time, my friend, my Aussie good friend. We talk about all sorts, but I'm glad that we're going to be talking about Liverpool 4-0 against Bayer Leverkusen tonight in the Champions League. We're top of the league, not just by goal difference, actually the top by clear points, aren't we? So it's a really really good position that we're at. There's so much to talk about, and I just want to get everyone on the comments. Like, subscribe. Um, you know, put your comments in. Tell us what your thoughts are about the game. Jay, let's just say yes. Jay Muse, I'm happy as always that you're here with us today. So let's get into it, gents. There's so much to talk about. Let's talk about the lineup. And I'm just going to bring in our very, very good colleague. Hey, Stitches. How you doing?
Yeah,
You're
I'm
straight
good.
into it. We're straight into it. We're going to talk. We're talking about the lineup, but I'm glad that you're here, Stitches. Dylan, I'm going to come to you first. Let's talk about the lineup. Any surprises for you? Certainly that front three was a surprise. Diaz playing as number 9. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think he tried similar against Brighton, didn't he, in the week in the cup as well. So, I thought with the type of game it was going to be, it could suit Nunes as well. But in terms of him getting a rest tonight for Villa at the weekend in particular, and kind of keeping that up as well, I think it's a good thing. He managed to get most of the game to have a rest and not have to do too much. But I was a bit surprised seeing Diaz down the middle. I wasn't really too sure how it's going to work in terms of, I know it was okay last week against Brighton, but it just felt a bit like in terms of where they might sit in a little bit, might there be too many cooks almost trying to play too intricately? It felt a bit like, and maybe not someone who's going to get at them and almost bully and kind of stretch and run past
Yeah.
in that sense. But I think that was the only real surprise though from the starting lineup. I think in terms of everything else was fairly Don for Jones, maybe Simicast for Robbo, maybe in terms of some of things, but on form, I think that's probably the team that everyone mostly expected to start, other than Nunes up front.
Yeah, I agree. The thing, and I'll get CT's the kind of views on this. The way I've seen Diaz, certainly his first 6 months when he came in, the type of goals that he scored, the areas that he actually scored those goals. If you have a look at that, it's very much in between the posts, a very very number 9 type finishes. Just think back to the United game earlier this season and the 2 goals. His first goal or the second goal, either one, where it was at the edge of the box, just curled it in. That was a beautiful number 9-esque type finish, and I think I've said it. I've said it to a few guys. I've said it to a few friends as well. I think Diaz is actually quite a good striker, central striker. He may not have the physical kind of prowess as Nunes or other players that we've seen in the past, but as a finisher, CT, you can't argue with the results that we're seeing from him.
Cannot at all. But yeah, great shout, great point. I think what I've seen in Diaz is, he has those instincts where he's patient on the ball and he's calculated, and I think that's a key trait for a number 9, because sometimes your first instinct is just to shoot when you're on goal, but sometimes you can fake the defender. You get the keeper moving. All those things, you need that composure that I think Diaz has, and I think in the past, it hadn't really translated over the last 12 months, but there's been a lot of things happen in his life, in front of goal. And we're seeing it now where he's, assumingly his life's back to normal and he's loving his football. I was happy to hear there was reports come out in the summer that, he's really happy with Liverpool still and he wants to stay. And despite all that noise, with the links to Barcelona, and, it seems like that was maybe more on the agent or the family side, but he's loving his football at Liverpool. He's versatile now. We're seeing it, and I credit to Slot for actually giving him the opportunity to play in different positions as well. And I guess maybe Cody, which we'll talk about, playing so well on the left side, is also helping this situation out.
Yeah, absolutely agree with those comments and Stitches. Were there any other surprises in that lineup? Unless you want to talk about a little bit about Diaz as well. We'll come more onto Diaz and those finishes when we talk about the second half. But in terms of the lineup, any surprises that you saw? Were you happy that Simicast is getting an opportunity now? We've kind of seen some really, really good performances, man of the match in the last Champions League game the other week. So in due course, just like what CT says, what Dylan says, this is the best team that we've got on paper, surely.
Yeah, look, the guys are flying at the moment, and it's funny. I'm looking at it, and I remember saying on a couple of pods ago when I was on, and I when we played in the Carabao Cup, and we played Robbo instead of the Shimicast, and I remember mentioning this may be the changing of
I
the
think
guard.
that was between us two, mate. I think that was us two. We were talking.
Yeah. And I kind of saw it coming. I saw, because Robbo's performances weren't quite the levels that we'd be expecting from him for quite a while now. And Shimmy's been pushing on that door, and he's come on and had cameo performances where he's outplayed Robbo, and he just looks really comfortable in himself right now. I think that's the way that I can really describe it. He looks imperious in the way that he steps across players and just cuts out the pass or anticipates the pass to then get us onto the front foot. So it's brilliant. I wasn't so surprised to see that starting lineup up front. I've seen us use Diaz down the middle before, and it's been quite effective. I actually think that he's more of a poacher than Nunes is. We play Nunes down the middle. It's more to have a focal point, to have that kind of centre forward to play off. Whereas with Diaz, he gives you that threat behind, which I'm not saying Nunes doesn't, but he seems to have a bit of a more predatorial
intelligence. I think.
Goal.
I think that footballing IQ, he's definitely got it. You know what I mean?
And that's not something that I would have given to him in the past. When he first joined us, I think that was one of my frustrations with Diaz, was that he's my type of player all the way in terms of the flair, taking on his players, the beating of his man. But he used to make me pull my hair out, and I've got quite a lot of that to pull out. With regards to the end product, it used to get on my nerves, and that's why whenever there was the Diaz or Gapco debate, I always kind of sided with Gapco, even though he wasn't as eye-catching. I always felt there was a bit more end product. It was a bit more effective when you play Gapco. But now that you've got both of them firing on all cylinders, you've got the option to play both of them at the same time, and it just looks fantastic. And credit has to go to Slot for two things. One, the way that he's rotated these players has kept them all quite fresh, and especially with Gapco and Diaz, he's given Diaz the rest when he needs it, and now he looks invigorated, hungry, out there to prove something, and that really showed tonight. And I think that they're both going to feed off each other in the same way. You had that competitiveness with Mane and Salah, where they both want to get on the goals, they both want to get involved in the game, and it's great for us to see. And the second reason I want to give Slot credit is that I've seen slow but incremental improvements in a lot of players over the last month or so. And yes, Szoboszlai is not firing on all cylinders yet. Neither is McAllister. McAllister maybe because he's carrying a bit of an injury. But we've seen Gravenberch from the start of the season playing out of his skin. We're now seeing Jones being the player that I've always believed he was, and starting to deliver. What a through ball. And there was a switch he did from the left side to the right side, where he just turned inside and just switched it, and I'm just like, this is incredible. So credit has to go to Slot for the way that he's invigorated and improved the team, and I think there's still more to come. That's the scary thing. I don't even think we're firing on all cylinders yet. It's almost like he sets up a tactic for the first half, which is what he thinks the game's going to be. The first half is a suck it and see. And then second half, he makes his tweaks, and then we just blow the opposition away. And it's brilliant to see the manager having that kind of impact. So what a day. Fireworks night, and we certainly let off the fireworks in Anfield tonight, definitely.
Yeah. I think I saw it earlier in the comments, a really good comment about, we started playing football as soon as the fireworks stopped. It seemed like he was going constantly for that first half. But Dylan, let's kind of concentrate on that first half and what your thoughts were. Is it a case of for the first 20-25 minutes we like a boxer just jabbing and seeing what this opposition's about, or was it a case of by Leverkusen were actually very good, or kind of combination of both? We just kind of keeping them at arm's length and working them out. What were your thoughts that first half?
I think it's almost a little bit of both, really, to be honest with you, because it was quite an interesting first half. I thought it felt an almost a little bit like a defense v attack training session. Almost they were sat in their banks and they sat with their five and the kind of three just in front, and it was almost up to us to try and find a way to work that out and almost find a way through that, because let's face it, they've lost something like 2 in 62 games or 63 games. So they're never going to be a team that are going to open up for you straight away. And we had to kind of earn that right in the second half to be able to play like that. So the discipline they were showing in the first half, they're clearly a very well coached team who know their system and know how to work it. The wing backs down the side in the first half were a real threat when they did manage to break through us. I know Frimpong's one was handball, but that's just kind of the prime example when they did manage to get through. And I think it was really interesting in terms of how were we going to find a way to break that system down, and almost slightly in terms of like Brighton's first half, the way that they set out their system perfectly against us, even though they were different systems, it was almost similar to that. They didn't create as many chances in terms of putting a threat on us in the first half, but it felt a little bit similar where we almost had to get past that frustration to then find a way to earn the right to that first goal and then push on from there. And I think as that started to develop during the second half, when we get onto that, I think it kind of pushed on from there after the crowd kind of got up and realised it's going to take something to beat this team. They're not a team who's just going to lie down for you. You're going to have to do something to beat them. And I think that's mainly in the first half what it was. They had their system, they had their way of playing, they stuck to it really, really well, and they kind of earned the right to be in the game by half time still. So yeah, I think close, tight first half, and just really quite interesting to see how we were going to work that out really as the game went on.
Yeah, I mean, we probably do need to give a bit more respect to Bayer Leverkusen. Xabi Alonso, obviously, we know the past, the history with what he's meant to us as a player, and the conversations. Maybe there were conversations, perhaps they weren't. In the summer, with him being courted by Liverpool, who knows what does actually make the jump to Anfield in the future. But they're champions of Germany, right, CT? They're a brilliantly coached team. They pressed so well. They pressed the team. That midfield in the first half, and this is the question I'm going to come to you. That midfield just wasn't working. For me personally, I don't know what your thoughts are about that midfield. But what were the weak areas? Because we were just kind of bypassing the midfield and trying to just get Salah to go against Hincapié. But was that the issue in that first half, and that was the potential fix?
Yeah, I think we were just trying to get forward too quickly, and and try to skip a few steps from the slot build up, build up from the back, but executing. I think the double pivot, the most that we can. I think with Gravenberch, his ability to carry the ball, I think he couldn't really get on the ball very much. McAllister's been down on form a little as well. I think if we're being a little critical of some of the players' recent form, but yeah, I think like Paul said in the chat, it's a game of chess, and I think we're really taking on our identity of our coach a lot more now every single game. And Slot's been adamant that wait till you see me a couple months in. If you think we're flying right now, we're only getting better. And I believed him. I believe him, as many fans do. And it takes time. But we're really starting to see Curtis Jones come on now and show his quality, and Slot really giving chances to players. Simicast, some great stories. Diaz, these guys that have been with us for a long time and a while, and he's seeing their strengths. And all the talk in the summer was Slot's going to come in with his ideas, but he's known for improving players, the current players that you have. So look for some internal improvement, and we've seen that in spades. I mean, that's probably been the biggest eye opener for me. What he's getting out of your Diaz, your Gakpos, your Simicasses now, who people were ready to give up on. these guys are world beaters now. So I mean, all the credit in the world needs to go to Slot for figuring it out, and these guys for being receptive for his message.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And then Stitches, let's I'm going to come back to you about Slot and the tweaks that he made at halftime. Let's go into the second half now, and let's kind of try to understand, because that's where all the action is, and that's I'm pretty sure everyone in the comments, that's what we want to be talking about. What were your thoughts? Instantly what we saw in that first half. Sorry, in the second half.
So generally, I like to rewatch the game when the emotions are out. I like to watch it back to just look at the tactical tweaks, because that's what really intrigues me. But just off the top of my head, in terms of what I saw that was slightly different, it seemed like our defensive line pushed up a little bit higher, engaged in those 1v1 battles. We turned Frimpong around and made him play a little bit more defensively. I think that I saw Shimikas really trying to anticipate those passes into Frimpong rather than letting him receive the ball and then be involved in the play. He was more on the front foot in the second half. And then what I think I saw was a bit more interchange between Diaz and Gakpo, rather than them playing a bit more isolated. I think there was a bit more interchange in terms of their movement to go and receive the ball, which pulled players out of position, creating an overload on the other side with Salah staying up high and then being able to receive those balls in the channel that he gets from Trent. So I just feel like we moved them around. We made them play our game instead of playing their game. And it seemed like, in the first half, they really forced us to play long, quite a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of long balls from Kelleher, and there was less of that in the second half, and we actually played around their press. The passing seemed to have gone up an octave. We were moving the ball a lot sharper and getting Salah into the game, and he was having a bit of a bad-blooded battle with that fullback. And, they were weaving some on each other constantly. But I just think
I like it. Yeah, but I like it when Salah has a bit of needle in him.
So do I, because I think when you start kicking him or you start pulling him and doing things like that, it just winds him up, which just makes him go Super Saiyan. Same as Trent. Whenever Trent gets involved in some handbags and the crowd goes wild at Anfield, it just turns us up a notch. So maybe we needed a bit of that needle, and we got it. And I don't know what Salah's practicing in training with those passes with the outside of the foot, but they are ridiculous.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful passes with the outside of the foot. And again, people swallow this narrative that Salah's greedy, and that he's always shooting. But if you look at the assists and the chances created, that I think that's the thing, that's the understated thing that people are going to miss when eventually he leaves. Right? Not only does he contribute in terms of putting the ball in the back of the net, but the opportunities that he creates. And I'm not just talking about the ones that get taken. The ones that don't get taken, the amount of chances he creates per game, it's nuts. The guy, I say it all the time, and people say, oh, yeah, he gets the credit. But I don't think he does. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's one of these things that when he's gone, that's when we're going to fully appreciate what the Egyptian king does in our team. And again, today, I don't necessarily think it was his best game, but the impact that he had was crazy. And once he started turning that fullback around and running in behind, getting the balls in the channel, him and Jones link up really well anyway. But, once that started going in the second half, I think those defenders just had a torrid time. They didn't know whether they were coming, don't know whether to run inside or do I run outside. It's like, you don't know where to go because just the movement's crazy. So, I think I saw those tweaks from, you have to give credit to Slot because he sees the issue and he addresses it every single time. That's so impressive to be able to impact the game with some slight tweaks. But at the same time, he's got this ability to make the players give a little extra. Because it's the third game in a row, I think, where I've said, I don't want to see that first half ever again.
Yeah.
And then they've come out second half and it's like a completely different team. So I guess what we got to work out is how do we do that in the first half and just do that for the whole game? And I think what it is that they work on something midweek, then they do it it might not work perfectly, but I don't think the players are in a position yet where they know enough about what the manager wants to make the changes in match. And that's what comes after you've been together for a while with your manager. That's why we need that halftime for Slot to get him in and just say, right, okay, here's what I want you to do. Go 5 yards that way. I want you to press this way. You need to do this. I noticed they do this in the first half. And when they do this, this is what we do. And then they're able to go out and deliver that. But the in-game management, the ability to know what the manager would want, or how they make those changes in-game themselves, because it's very limited what the manager can do. This is where Van Dijk comes in. The older players come in because now they understand the slot ball system. They can make those in-game tweaks themselves, and I don't think we're there yet. That's why we're seeing the impact once we've had half-time and 15 minutes for Slot to really get into them and give them those tweaks. So I'm quietly optimistic that even though we're absolutely destroying it right now, top of the league in the Prem, top of the league in the Champions League, I feel like there's still gears to go. And if I was the opposition teams in any of the competitions that we're in right now, I'd be very afraid. I'd be very afraid that once this team clicks into gear, it's going to be very, very difficult to beat.
Yeah. I think the fear factor is definitely coming back if it's not already there. Dylan, let's kind of focus on that first goal and how beautiful the whole poetry in motion that it's. If ever there was a type of goal that would kind of epitomize that saying, it's that first goal, right? So Jones picks it up with a lovely run, goes in, and then that through ball is just delicious. And then Diaz with the composure, what we're talking about, him being that number 9, that finish was just stunning, right? So what were your thoughts when you saw that first goal? You've got to keep it PC though, mate. You can't get too explicit.
Yeah, on the goal itself, it kind of touches on some of the stuff Stitches was just saying now. We were just stepping up and being a little bit more aggressive in terms of the play. We were playing that quite passing quicker to midfield and just making it so they had that yard of space to get their head up, find something, and he found it, didn't he? The way he slipped that through. I was actually in the middle of as he passed it, I was about to say this goal's all from the pass, and then he dinked the keeper. So I was kind of like, well, which one is it now? Because the finish was just as beautiful as well. The division, first of all, to just see the pass almost executed kind of perfectly in terms of the weight of the pass as well. And then Diaz just to look up and kind of finish it. It touches nicely on what you were saying earlier on about kind of the natural instinct to just go, the keeper's going down, so I'm going high. And you almost see Rudaki looking up and going, oh, he's done me here because I've already sold myself and he's chipped me. So it's exactly like you said. And that's a natural finisher. And within those few minutes as well, again, it was very similar to the Brighton game almost in terms of the atmosphere for a few minutes just seemed to lift up massively, and all of a sudden that kind of helped with the aggressive kind of stepping onto them a little bit more as well, similarly to the 3 or 4 minutes at the weekend where we just went, right, we're on it, the crowd are on it, everyone get into your passes, get into your tackles straight away. And that seemed to happen within like a 5 or 10 minute period. And again, we scored 2 goals in, I think it was 4.5 minutes, something like that. So the impact of that kind of just took everything away from the rest of the game and then allowed us to be a little bit more free and kind of push on for the rest of the game from there. And it just seemed that once we'd worked out that we can play those passes into midfield, we can get at them a little bit quicker to break through that 5 and 3 that they kind of had set out and make them push up a little bit further as well, because they had to chase the game at 2-0 down a little bit more as well. And that just helped us then to take even more control of the game and see it out. And 4-0 against a team like Bayer Leverkusen shouldn't be taken quite easily, because they're a hard team to beat regardless of any score, never mind beating them 4-0. So like Stitches said, people should be taking note of the fact that we are beating teams like Bayer Leverkusen 4-0, whereas people are saying we haven't played anyone. We beat Milan, Real Madrid got spanked by them, we beat Bournemouth, City got beat by them. Who haven't we played then, if everyone keeps going on about it? And now we are winning games that people say that are the easy games. So let's push on from there, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. And coming back to your point, but
You've muted yourself, Charlie.
You're just on mute, Charlie.
Charlie, you're on mute, mate. Maybe your batteries ran out on your headphones or something. You're not on mute now.
You keep talking amongst yourself.
No, we can hear you.
Got you.
You got you now?
He can't hear us.
Yeah, I think the battery's gone on his headset.
Yeah, that's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, no, but you're right though, mate. I just think there's gears to go up, and that's where I was just looking in the chats, and someone just said, "Would you take Robertson or Robinson from Fulham?" Interesting. I do like him, but I don't necessarily feel like he fits in with our squad.
And I don't feel like he improves as massively, in all honesty,
Nah.
either. I think he's a decent enough player, but I don't think
Mm.
he massively improves anything on what we've already got, if I'm honest.
Mm.
Especially this form Simicast is now showing as well.
Yeah. There was a couple of decisions in the game. What did you guys think in regards to the challenge from Van Dijk on Frimpong? I can't lie, I held my breath. I'm just glad that wasn't in the Prem, because I think in the Premier League we'd have a penalty given against us at that point.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I was like, oh, if he did clip him, but as the commentary said, he went down probably a couple of beats too late. If he like Stitches, if he'd gone down with that contact in the Prem, I think that's a VAR at least. And
Well, it would have gone back, isn't it? You know, like they can't go back 30 seconds to give our goal against Tottenham, but they would have gone back however long they needed to give that penalty, because, like, fair play, Van Dijk does clip him, the legs connect, but then he stumbles through that, takes a couple more steps, feels a hand on his shoulder, and then goes down, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's controversial. I mean, the handball when he scored Frimpong, where he kind of guides the ball into his path off the back of Shimikas. There seemed to be a bit of discussion on the commentary, I mean, that I was listening to, and they were discussing whether it was it should have been a goal or not. I was thinking it was a clear handball. I mean, what's there to discuss?
And I think it's because he directly runs through and scores it. The weird thing about it is, if he does that and he runs down the wing and probably whips it into somebody else, they probably don't go back far enough to it, and they probably give it. So it's one of them weird decisions, because it directly leads to him scoring is the only reason they kind of really give it. But yeah, it's one of them weird ones.
We got Charlie back.
Back in, Charlie.
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
We can hear you. We can hear
you. Right.
We're back.
Apologies, everybody. I don't know. Right. Well, what was being discussed? What did we say?
We were ad-libbing. We looked at some of the questions in the comments.
You know what? You guys are just natural anyway. So I'm absolutely. I love you guys. So and the comments. Thank you for all your support. But yeah. The last point I got to. Salah,
we lost him again.
But yeah, looks. No, I'm back. I'm here. I'm still here.
Yep, cool.
Yeah,
I think the last point we were discussing when we discussing, I think, what was it? The first goal. Was it the first goal?
Second goal.
Yeah, Diaz.
Second goal.
I think
yes.
Dylan was just talking about Diaz's goal and the finishes. Yeah, first goal.
Yeah. So the second goal was just again stunning. CT or CT. Let's come to you. Let's talk about that second goal. I think I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago about how we saw it again on the weekend. Liverpool seem to be scoring goals very, very quickly. So when we get the first, we get the second, and it's a recurring theme that's happening throughout the season. Whether it's sustainable, who knows? But teams are getting caught, and it's not just that first punch; it's that second blow. That second blow essentially kills off the game. And that's what happened today, and that just took the wind out of Leverkusen's sails, out of their wings. But what were your thoughts when you saw that second goal? Again, another brilliant goal. Salah with a brilliant assist and a lovely diving header.
Yeah, it was champagne, really. I see Jay Muse's comment, almost cried on Gakpo's driving header. But yeah, it was beautiful again from both sides, the assist and the contact. I think just prior to that was Salah shanked the right foot, and everyone was kind of like, the right foot of Salah, goes out, goes wide, and then
yes, that's right.
Then he puts in that beautiful ball, and he just reminded why he's Mo Salah, and Gakpo, and then our chat was like, he's on, and I think it was the outstretched was the outstretched leg of the defender that really played Cody onside. But what a bullet driving header! You know, no keeper in the world is saving that one. Just pure contact and a pure connection. I mean, that's something out of on the training pitch that you practice, and it was well executed as well. I mean, what a nightmare night for their keeper, really. In that second half. I mean, having those bullet headers coming at you, no chance of stopping that. But look, credit to Cody. Again, Cody's been outstanding form. The first Brighton game, the second Brighton game with his cross. Now I think he scored he scored a goal 3 games in a row now. Is Cody Gakpo. So I'd be interested to know if that's one of his personal bests. I might look that up as we get Stitch's thoughts on the second goal.
Yeah, the second goal was definitely what the archetypical slot ball goal would be. When we were all doing our research on slot before we came in, and we were looking at Fire Lord's passing sequences before a goal ended up going in, that would be one of the typical slot type goals. And it just goes to show that Salah keeps evolving himself. I mean, who would have thought that he was going to put in a peach in a ball like that with his right foot? You know what I'm saying? And literally, as you said, CT, minutes after he just missed an opportunity where he's put through on the far post and he's tried to hit it first time and he's just shanked it. And then he's got like another chance. This guy's relentless. He just keeps coming. And what a ball, and what follow up on the back post by Gakpo just to get his head on it. I know the commentators did their best to put out the vibes that the goal would get cancelled, but I saw it from the very first moment I saw it. I said that was onside. Yeah, and I'm just glad again that it's European refs and not English refs managing this, because I'm sure they would have just called it off as offside or something. But beautiful goal, beautiful play, and just as you said, we're like sharks. Once we smell blood in the water, it's frenzy time. The crowd gets up in Anfield, it gets loud, the octaves go up. The opposition, if they don't know about the Anfield atmosphere, they find out pretty quickly once we get on top of the game. And the crazy thing is, it's not always a goal that triggers us off. It could be, a big tackle or someone closing down 3 players, as Robbo did, if I remember correctly, just chasing things down and then forcing an error. And all of a sudden, the atmosphere changes and the team feeds off that. They get that energy boost. It's like, I don't know, I'm going to be showing my age here. It's like gummy berry juice or something from back in the day. They drink like Asterix and Obelix, and they just go Super Saiyan. And once they get that first goal, you better be careful. You better just sit in for a little while and just be prepared to defend. Because if you don't, we're going to hit you again, and we're going to hit you again. And that's the way it's going at this moment in time. So that second goal, for me personally, wasn't unexpected. As soon as we scored the first, I thought, we might get 1 or 2 here tonight if we keep going the way we're going. But I think the key thing is to think that Bayern Leverkusen are no mugs. This is a team that went pretty much unbeaten in their league last season. They lost in a European Cup final, but beyond that, they were dispatching teams last year. They know what they're about. And we made them look very ordinary. I know they haven't been in great form at the moment. It's been a lot of draws, but they weren't losing games, and they certainly weren't conceding 4 goals. Do you know what I mean? Away from home, and we absolutely put them to the sword. And that's just testament to the fact that, as you mentioned, Dylan, everyone's saying, "Oh, we haven't played anyone yet." That's because we make them look like no one when we play them, and it's not until they play the opposing teams that people realise, hang on a minute, these teams can actually play. Liverpool just made them look ordinary.
Yeah, I like it. I like that we've mentioned gummy bears. So that's an old school Disney cartoon that I used to watch. Dragon Ball Z. You get it all on this channel. You know what I mean? So it's great.
Mate.
So So Dylan, let's kind of come onto another Salah assist and another Diaz goal. We probably didn't expect it. The way that it fell to him, but again, another really tidy finish. Kind of just talking about the same things, and one of the things I did want to mention before. So the first goal was really reminiscent of the Torres goal against Man United when Benayoun put Torres through. Don't know if you ever get a chance, just watch that again. It's kind of gave me those same feels. And then the second goal gave me the feels of when Mane scored against Man City in the Champions League, where the ball just came over the top and he just buried it past whoever the goalkeeper was. It wasn't the main guy, I'm pretty sure. But those reminiscent. But that third goal, there, Dylan. What were your thoughts? It's just another tidy goal, making them look average, just like what Stitches said.
Yeah, and like you say, it almost did make them look average in that period because you could see the confidence that we had then, that we know now what we're doing. We know how to get through this low block. We know how to, if we use quick, incisive, passive, we're gonna get through it. And it led pretty quickly to second and third goals. And then for periods, they didn't look like getting back into the game at all. If you're honest, from 2-0 down, they looked like when they had to be stretched, they didn't really know how to then come back onto us in that type of system that they were playing. They tried to make.
How good was Ibu?
Yeah,
we always talk about Virgil was his standard, very very the best centre back we've ever seen. But Ibu, how good was he? He just handled their main striker Boniface that people just shout from the rooftops about. He made him look average.
Yeah, Boniface has scored 10 this season in all competitions. I think Wirtz has got 7 in all competitions. They're no mugs. They know how to score a few goals as well, this team. They don't just hang in for 1-0 or 2-0 against the teams. They do beat teams quite heavily sometimes as well. So they are a very decent attacking team when they want to be as well as an organised team like they showed in that first half. So Ibu and Virgil, again, to keep a clean sheet against a very good attacking team, shows the kind of levels that they're at this season that no one's even really talking about. They're just talking about the attacking side of it. So it shows the levels that we now kind of have come to expect from the two of them really throughout the season. But yeah, going on to the last 2 goals, it just felt like every time we kind of went forward during that period, we felt like we could score, because there was a couple of times I think we were 4-on-2, we were 4-on-3. It just felt like we had the system now to open them up, and as soon as we wanted to, we could open them up at ease towards the end. And yeah, I want to say as well about Salah, in terms of it, he didn't have the best game, but it just shows the mentality we're all talking about as well, the elite mentality he has. He doesn't have the best game, yet he still gets 2 assists, and he's still the left back for them isn't going to go home thinking he had a good game when Salah's had an average game really against him and got 2 assists against him. So, and for Luis Diaz as well, hopefully a hat trick tonight, loads to build on going forward with. Gakpo's in good form, Diaz getting a hat trick. It's hard to say at the weekend now whether you go with the same system, maybe, because it's hard to drop either of them. Gakpo, the form he's been in, it's hard to drop him on the left. And with Diaz scoring a hat trick, it's hard to then move him out of the middle when he's got 3. Yes, 2 of them are kind of tap. The last one's a tap in really when it's just in front of goal. But that shows the poaching instinct you were talking about as a number 9. He's there for it to put it in. It's no accident that he's there. So it'd be interesting to see whether that front 3 does stay the same for the weekend against Villa and going forward.
Yeah, and if you're Villa, we're going to do a Friday night preview. Actually, I'm hosting that channel, that stream on Friday night. So we're going to be talking about Villa for the 8 o'clock Saturday game. But yeah, just join us on that one, and we can talk about the front line and see who's going to be playing. But CT, just let's give a quick shout out because I do want to finish up soon, so everyone can get to sleep wherever you are. How good is Kelleher? When called upon, he made some absolutely world-class saves. There was a moment because I was watching on Amazon. I think it was Alan Shearer. He spoke about Alisson not being mentioned. Obviously, we miss Alisson. Alisson is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. When he's on form, when he's fit, he's probably the best. But Kelleher, when called upon, he may be having a quiet game because the defense is doing everything they need to. But when they have a shot, he's solid.
He is, man, and he's the complete keeper for me in terms of like all-around game, shot stopping, athletic reflexes with his feet, instincts are on point, and I think in his position, being next to Alisson or under Alisson, it's an ideal spot because you see the best in the world do it every week. But I think the big point is you got Ibu and you've got Van Dijk in front of you. So as a keeper, what a better place to be than having those two towers and mountains in front of you, and obviously Trent ability to track back, and Simicast's form now as well. So it's a complete effort, team effort. The back four and the keeper are doing their job. The stingiest defense in the world, in the Prem. Best number 2, Kelleher steps in. We don't even miss a beat. I mean, this isn't. I think I speak for all Liverpool fans. It's not a slight on Alisson when you say that. When Kelleher comes in, we literally don't miss a beat. We don't miss a beat. And yes, Alisson, there's a level where he can pull off these worldy saves where only he and a handful of others might be able to pull off. But right now, Kelleher's growing in his career still, and he's reaching that world class. He's reaching that world class level. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Kelleher is world class now?
Yeah, I personally think that, completely selfishly, I don't think we can let him go. I'm just like, I know his contract's coming up, but whatever you need to do. I don't know I can't remember what the name of the horror film is where the lady just kind of tied the guy down to the bed and broke his legs.
Misery.
That's the one, right? I'm envisaging something along those lines. Don't arrest me for this, but like Kelleher can't go. He can't go. I know we've got Mama Dashville,
yeah.
But look, listen, you want to challenge on all fronts, you need players that are able to come in and deliver like that. And my number 2 currently is better than most number 1s in the league, and if not in Europe.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to lose that sense of security.
Yeah.
I just think the guy, he deserves his flowers. He's been outstanding. And what's outstanding about him, and he's got that thing that top goalkeepers have, where you have nothing to do for the majority of the game. And then at critical moments, you pull off 2 absolute worldy saves back to back. Like one-on-one, and he's got a strong leg onto it. It's bounced up. It's landed into the opposition player coming in, and you're thinking goal. And he makes another save. And I'm just like, this kid is crazy. The only vibes that I get from him that's a bit different, I think, where he needs to develop, and this is just my reading of things, is I don't know if he has that presence, command of his penalty area, because he seems quite a languid, laid back. Like, I can't imagine him shouting and commanding the likes of Virgil and stuff. I mean, say, which you get from Alisson. When Alisson is there, he's a presence, and they're probably hearing him halfway down the pitch. And I'm not sure. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying that's the next step for him. But right now, he's absolutely what we need. And if Alisson's going to be out injured, I have no fear of what happens in between the sticks. And I used to really shit my pants when Alisson was going to be out, that we have a big problem. But you also mentioned CT, which I have to chime in on as well, is the defensive pairing in front of him are just outstanding at the moment. And actually, it's testament to what Ibu's doing right now that I think you're going to see strikers stop trying to be on Ibu and maybe try their luck with Van Dijk, because no one's getting any change from him right now. You talk about Boniface and how strong and how imperious he is, and he just made him look average today. Like, the amount of times he just cut across him and just brushed him off and took the ball off him and just casually played it out. And I'm just thinking, wow, Ibu's literally playing games like he's got a cigar out right now. And just the fact that he didn't break a bone, that's a big, massive yes for us. And I just think, again, I'll go back to what I said in my first stint when I was talking here. There is a lot of players that Slot is just taking to another level right now. Levels where, some of us as fans have doubted that these players are capable of. Because if I go through our team right now and I look at other teams, I don't think there's more than 2 or 3 players that I would think come into our team and take us forward. It's like, who are you going to swap? Who are you going to swap out? And when Slot said it at the beginning of the season, when he said, look, we're not just going to sign anyone because I've got a really good squad, and I'm not going to sign someone that's not going to take us up a notch. I truly believe that now. And I'm thinking, I know we were throwing a lot of names in our group chats, we're throwing a lot of names in, but I don't see that many players that can come into this team and dislodge some of the players that are in place, and that's testament to what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. And if we do sell Kelleher, I'm not accepting anything less than 45 mil. Nothing
Yeah, I
less,
agree.
because
I
he's
agree.
well in that bracket. Well in that bracket.
He is. He's definitely top half. He's definitely a European level goalkeeper. But yeah, some brilliant comments tonight, gents. I'm going to end it there. We've got to 45 minutes. I'm pretty sure we could talk for another half an hour, about the game. But yeah, I do want to finish it up, and I just want to say thank you to Dylan, CT, Stitches for some absolutely brilliant comments, keeping me straight because I've had some technical issues. Everyone in the comments, you've been brilliant. I love you all. At the top of the league, we've got 25 points in the league. We've got 12 points in European. That's phenomenal rate of points collections already. Top of the league, gents. Top of the league, Reds. We are upwards and onwards. It's great being at the top. Good night, all. We will see you tomorrow. Well, actually, there's another stream on tonight. So there's a stream. US stream, which is at 2 a.m. UK time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Joining that one, they're going to be talking more about the game, I'm sure. And there's going to be more chats tomorrow. There's going to be more chats the day after, and every day until the end of the season, and we're going to win everything. Good night, Reds. See you
See you
soon.
later, fellas.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.